So, in the Web3 world, a multi-signature wallet is pretty much sold as the ultimate digital fortress. It's the gold standard, the Fort Knox of crypto. It's designed specifically to prevent the exact kind of catastrophic theft we're always hearing about. And yet, a hacker just walked right through the front door and drained one completely.
And we're not talking small change here. They made off with over $26 million. Now, the crazy part is how they did it. It wasn't by cracking passwords or brute forcing keys. Nope. They did it by exploiting one tiny, devastating flaw in how a smart contract understood what a signature even was.
I mean, that's the whole sales pitch, right? We're promised that if you require multiple approvals, the system is foolproof. But in this case, the irony is just brutal. The system wasn't foolproof at all, not even close.
So that's the big question we're going to break down right now. How did this happen? We're going to look at the exact line of code that failed, see how the exploit actually worked, and, this is the really important part, how an AI agent could have spotted this flaw in seconds, a flaw that human auditors completely missed. Let's dive in.
Okay, so before we get into the nitty-gritty of the broken code, we have to understand the theory behind it. Why is multi-sig security so trusted in the first place? What's the big idea?
Just think of it like one of those high-security bank vaults in movies, The kind that needs 3 different keys turned at the exact same time to open the door. One person alone can't compromise the system. You need a quorum, a specific number of approvals, let's say 3 out of 5 executives, to move any money. It's all about eliminating that single point of failure.
And the process is supposed to be rock solid by design. So someone proposes a transaction, like, hey, let's send $1 million to address X. The smart contract then basically acts as the bouncer at the door. It uses a function called EQ-recover to check everyone's ID, to cryptographically confirm that each signature is authentic and actually belongs to an authorized owner. Only when enough owners have signed off does that vault door swing open.
So, if the system is so secure on paper, where did it all go wrong? Well, the vulnerability wasn't in the fancy cryptography itself. It was in what the developers simply forgot to include in that signature verification process.
Okay, look at this. This single line of code you see right here is the heart of the entire $26 million vulnerability. To create a unique fingerprint or a hash for any transaction, the smart contract only looked at 2 things: where the money was going and how much it was. See what's missing? There's nothing here to stop that exact same transaction from being submitted over and over again. And that little omission, well, it turned out to be everything.
And this right here was the critical, flawed assumption. They just figured that a valid signature for one transaction couldn't possibly be used for another one. But the code we just saw, it didn't include enough unique information to actually enforce that belief.
The developers missed 2 crucial safeguards that are standard practice for a reason. First, something called a nonce. It sounds complicated, but it's really just a simple, unique counter for each transaction. It's like a ticket number. You can only use it one time. And second, the chainID, which basically stamps the transaction with which blockchain it's for. Without that, a signature that's valid on Ethereum could, in theory, be reused on Polygon or some other compatible chain.
And this is exactly how the replay attack worked. It was devastatingly simple. The hacker just sat back and waited. They watched for a totally legitimate, fully signed transaction to go through. Then they just copied those valid signatures and resubmitted them to the smart contract again and again and again. Because there was no nonce, the contract had no memory. It had no way of knowing it had seen these signatures before. The signers had basically given the hacker a blank signed check that could be photocopied and cashed an infinite number of times.
So here's the part that really gets me. This flaw existed in the code, and it was even audited by paid human professionals who completely missed it. Which just begs the question, how? And could something else have caught it?
Look, humans get tired. It happens. After staring at thousands of lines of code, your brain starts to make shortcuts, to make assumptions. You see a standard-looking function, and you just assume it was implemented correctly. We've seen this happen in huge hacks, like the Euler Finance exploit, which somehow passed 6 separate human audits. But an AI agent? It doesn't get tired. It doesn't make assumptions. It just relentlessly scans for known vulnerability patterns, without any bias.
And you don't need to be some kind of super genius to use one, either. I mean, look at this prompt. It's simple, it's direct, and it tells the AI exactly where to focus its attention, on that signature verification logic.
And boom. Here's the result. Less than 3 seconds later, the AI instantly flags the exact 2 issues we just talked about. It didn't get fatigued, it didn't assume best practices were being followed, it just analyzed the logic and pointed out the critical flaws. This is the incredible power of automated analysis.
So all of this really leads us to a new reality in Web3 security. It's not about replacing humans. It's about arming them with much, much better tools for what is becoming a serious arms race.
You've got to understand, the attackers are not standing still. They are already using automated tools and AI to poke and prod for weaknesses on a massive scale. So to defend against this new wave of attacks, the builders and the defenders have to adopt the same cutting-edge technology. Just relying on purely manual methods anymore is just not going to cut it.
So, what's the real lesson from this $26 million disaster? It's that the future of securing these protocols isn't some choice between humans or AI. It's about synergy. It's about experienced human auditors wielding these powerful, specialized AI agents to catch the exact kind of thing the human eye might miss. Honestly, if you're building a protocol with millions of dollars at stake, not using these tools is just negligent at this point.
You know, the Web3 space is just moving way too fast for last-generation security tactics, which really poses the question on the screen, are you prepared? For any of the developers or founders watching who want to go way deeper on this, I'm actually putting together a bootcamp to teach you how to build these kinds of automated security tools from the ground up. If you're interested, the link to the waitlist is down in the description.